Going on, Ryan? We're live, man.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm fantastic. Another day, another opportunity to make the world bend in my favor.
Excellent. That's what we keep trying to do day in and day out. You will do what I need you to do.
It's true. I think we ultimately control, our perspective on life. I think that's what it really all comes down to. Like, how do you view things, right? We talk about this all the time with our team. Mindset. And when you got your mindset mastered, dive in a little more to mindset, right? Because it all starts from there. It was Ben Franklin or someone who said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
Right? Mind over matter.
All the time.
What's
So
that?
I think
You control your
David,
body.
say that again.
You control your actions.
Well, what's interesting, I was reading something the other day by someone. They said, it's interesting because you don't control that first thought that comes into your head, right? And we don't, right? Somebody does something dumb, somebody does something good, whatever, right? We have that first initial thought that comes in. You're like, you are so stupid, right? But the problem is we can't control that thought. We can house it, though, and what we do get the opportunity to do, which is control the second and third thoughts that come after that, right? Because
Absolutely.
oftentimes we can think through and say, okay, you know what? How do I really want to approach this? So that's the interesting piece out there. But it is all about mindset and how are you viewing everything that's happening? And we're going to dive into this. It's just going to be you and I today. And for all those people watching, we're going to hit a little bit of real estate, but we're really going to talk about really a number of different stories that are out there that are positive stories, because we believe what you put in is what you get out. And there is enough negativity and negative stories out there that we thought we'd bring you multiple doses of positive stories and things that we're seeing here. But ultimately, it's all about mindset, right, Ryan?
Absolutely. And saying all these things because the positive impact is what gives you positive results. And you know what? Taking any of that negative stuff and sitting there, housing it and internalizing it and making it something that is bigger than what it is just does nothing but really kill you. It causes you stress, which leads to health issues, which doesn't impact your environment or anyone else around you. So really, it just comes down to doing the right thing as much as you can and making that conscious choice to say, okay, I have a way to go with this way or this way, and which way am I going to go? And what's the result of doing that? So yeah, good stuff. Lots of things.
Yeah, well, I think ultimately there's no right or wrong, right? There's just decisions and consequences, in ways that you think that lead to certain outcomes, So, at the end of the day, though, that's all that we have, right? We're left with our thoughts, and
do you learn or do you not?
That's right. That's right.
There, right? Yeah.
What's the biggest, the best thing you've learned, seen, saw, or heard this week, Ryan?
So the best thing I did over the weekend is we got the kids those balloons that you can just screw into the hose, the water balloons.
That like load 6 of them at one time?
Oh, you know what? Why didn't we invent that? That's just amazing to me. It's like the most simplest thing that all you got to do is, 4 little hoses and some rubber bands and water balloons. And I made millions. Awesome. Yeah, good job, Ryan. Way to go.
Crazy,
yeah, so we got those and we got a water balloon launcher.
Okay.
It was, I think it was like $15 on Amazon. Nice. And those balloons are about the same. And so we sat outside for a while and launched those. And they probably went like 40 yards up in the air. And I think we could have gotten to go higher too. And then just watch the kids like back. And they're going to catch it. And then like, obviously we know they're not going to catch it. It just explodes all over their face. So that was entertaining.
We didn't feel some positive mindset in them, Ryan. Oh, we know they're not going to catch them. Wow, dang, man.
Well, we did do it where we launched them lighter and did get them to catch it and showed them that they could. But just also did the science part of it, where knowing when it comes, it's just so hard that it's going to pop. You can't stop it from popping. They did try to catch it with their shirt, which I thought would work, but no, it still popped. So that was fun. That was the highlight of the weekend, actually.
That's awesome. It sounds like a lot.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, the weekend was busy. I was out with multiple clients, so I had a bit of a working weekend. I did have an opportunity to golf early Sunday morning, which is always great. I mean, you and I know, we love those early morning tee times. So I had a 6:30 a.m. tee time on Sunday. I avoided the rain in the afternoon. I avoided the hot weather, so it was fantastic. So the weekend was busy. I love making clients' dreams come true. We got a townhouse under contract for some clients who had to compete against, I think, 4 or 5 offers. And then I had another client who won out on a penthouse unit. We had been working for, I don't know, last 4, 5, 6 months when I first originally met with her. And it's nice that we actually were able to find a property and negotiate a heck of a deal. I was able to save her thousands of dollars on the sale price initially, and a few more as we go into this. But so just a good weekend helping clients, good weekend golfing. The best thing that I read or listened to, There was a saying, it says success happens when priorities get done in the right order, right? And that's something you and I have been talking with our team about, because the most important thing is first identifying what are the priorities, right? What are your priorities that you have to live out, and so that's what I challenge everyone, right? Success is truly, right, making things happen, by living out your priorities in the right order. And so the first thing is always identify those priorities. The second thing they were talking about that went in conjunction with that was the 180 side of that, which was, distraction. That's oftentimes what keeps us from actually being successful or living those priorities. We're distracted by, TV or Netflix or the news, right? Or, protests or whatever it is, positive things, negative things, everything, life, our kids, water bills, there's always something to distract us, right? And so how do we actually move beyond that? And the biggest thing from that really shocked me or grabbed me was they said that on average, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. And that just floored me, right? I'm like, okay, it's a ton, right? What really tripped me up, though, was they said about 80% of those thoughts are negative thoughts. And then to go even further, to throw a little bit of salt on the wound, they said that the majority of those thoughts are thoughts that we've been having day after day, week after week, month after month, right? We're never dealing with them or tackling them. And so I think that's part of what kind of led us to say, you know what, let's do a show today all about positivity, right? What positive news can we bring? What positive message can we bring? And so that's kind of where we're at. But before we hop into that, let's talk a little bit of real estate. The real estate market continues to kind of evolve and open up a little bit more. Talk to us about where we're at right now in this DMV area.
Yeah, before I forget, actually, what podcast was that? Share that with everybody.
Yeah, that was the Win, Make, Give podcast. A colleague of ours, Titan in the industry, Ben Kinney, and some wealth guys that get together and do this show on a regular basis. Listen to that. That podcast was Win, Make, Give. Check it out, subscribe to it. Just a ton of great information on there, whether you're in real estate or not. It's all about, how do you have successful thinking and win in life? How do you make enough money that you can ultimately give back and really make an impact? And that's what we do on our team, right? We have a mission to impact lives in the communities we serve through real estate. And we'll talk a little bit about how we've been doing that. But yeah, let's get into some real estate. Tell me what's going on in the market, Ryan.
Market has actually continued to move in the positive direction. We have seen same thing about a 2-month inventory level. So sellers looking to sell are getting top dollar very quickly for their homes if they're in great shape and marketed well. And buyers are competing quite a bit, just like you ran into multiple offers in situations where they need to look at the overall picture and find out what are they willing to give up to get the home. That's just really the name of the game right now, is being as quick as we possibly can to the table to make sure we put the best offer possible forward that we can and lock down the deal. Rates are still really low, and it's just a continued upward trend at the moment. I don't think anything's going to change for quite some time. It looks like just inventory is going to slowly come back on the market at a low rate. So we're going to be in a seller's market again, I think, through the fall, and we'll see what the market brings from that point after.
Do you think we're going to see a bit of a slowdown, come November, December timeframe, or what are you thinking?
I really don't know yet, to be honest with you. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Maybe some of those people that were looking to move and were worried about it during the COVID times are going to sell around that time. But honestly, I really don't know. I think that there's just going to be a 90-day window that we're going to continue to cycle through to figure out what every period looks like. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's hard to tell too. I mean, we don't know, what reopening businesses and what having people back out into the marketplace is going to do. Is COVID going to spike again? I mean, it's been on a bit of a downward decline, but we've seen some numbers, specifically in Florida, kind of spike a little bit, and again, our caveat, right? We are not doctors and scientists, so we don't know all those things there. But yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see, how does that play out and what effect that has. But right now, what I'm seeing, is along lines of what you're saying, is I'm seeing a spike in the market in terms of people coming to the market. We are seeing an uptick in listings. I think people are feeling a little bit more confident in terms of getting those homes onto the market. I think maybe trying to get them sold and get to their next home is maybe pushing some people here to try to do that before the school year actually starts. So again, I mean, who knows if that's going to happen? I mean, it's been pretty interesting out there, and so I get it. We are taking it a bit day by day, week by week, and so we don't know what November looks like because shoot, we don't know what Friday is going to look like.
Well, and Yeah, and that's why we're setting up those listing alerts and market reports for everyone too. We really want to make sure that you can watch what's coming and going to make the educated decision on when is the right time for you. I think that people have a little bit of uncertainty and they're worried about selling right now. Don't be worried about selling right now. And if you're a buyer and you're looking at a long-term opportunity, it's fine. You're going to be in good shape if you're staying in that home for more than 5 years. If you don't know where you're going in a couple of years, it's a serious conversation to really dive into financially and find out what makes the most sense for you.
Here's a
You know?
question I have for you, Ryan. So the market is tough for buyers, you're saying, right? I mean, I've seen people posting about 20 different offers. I mean, like I said, my buyers had to compete against 4 or 5 different offers. So here's a question from you, right? You're telling sellers you can get the world, right? You're getting top dollar plus 1 to 3%, right? Plus a ton of terms, right? It's a good time to be selling. But the flip side of that is when I sell a house, how hard is it going to be for me to actually buy a house? And what are you telling people who are in that situation?
Well, typically, we're going to have a contingent situation. So people that are putting their home on the market and they have to buy another home, a lot of times they have to sell that home in order to buy that next one. So we have contingencies in place contractually that make it so they're not going to be homeless, because that's what they're always worried about. I'm going to be homeless. And really, it's analyzing the market up front and finding out what type of inventory is coming and going on the price range and type of home you're looking for and location. And make that educated decision to say, okay, there's enough homes coming and going based on my criteria that I should be able to find one. And if I don't, I'm not going to be homeless. The good thing is, as a seller, you can have those choices with an incoming buyer that needs to be flexible with your situation. Free rent back for 30 days, no closing costs, removing home inspections, and giving you what you want as a seller so you have the time to go find that other home. Because that buyer knows they're not going to find another home like yours either, because inventory is so low. So you're still fine.
How many of your people who were sellers, right, or even sell buys, how many of them have ended up homeless, Ryan?
None.
Okay.
I mean, none.
I've got a couple who, we were doing the same thing. We were selling. We ended up with a couple of offers, and we chose one, and we got some flexibility in terms of what we needed. And we went out. We actually ended up competing against a handful of offers on a home that my clients wanted to buy, and they ended up actually still getting the home. And I too am still batting 1,000%. I have not had a client go homeless. I always tell them, in this situation, worst case scenarios, I have a few extra rooms. I'm happy to put you up for a week or however long it takes. But the good news is I haven't had to have anyone in my house, and I haven't had anyone go homeless. So there's always opportunities. I think the key is to hire, an experienced agent, like one of the agents on our team, to actually be able to structure those deals, because that's the biggest thing. I mean, you have to have someone who understands negotiation, who understands sales, who understands the market, and actually has a presence and the ability and capability of having that conversation, with the sellers and their agent to be able to accept your offer and realize why taking your offer, even though it may be contingent upon a home closing, is maybe a better idea than some of the offers they may have. And that's all about expertise and negotiation.
Yeah, broken record time and time again. Everyone knows this. You're not going to go to some random doctor or some random person to get your hair cut, nor should you go to some random realtor when you're dealing of, hundreds of thousands of dollars selling or buying. Hire a pro, interview us, interview someone else. I could care less. I'll go against anyone and find out who is the right person to help you sell your home. That's what it's all about.
I've always said, of course we would love for people to choose us and work with us, but what we really want is, we would hate to hear someone have a terrible experience, right? Because they didn't know to maybe interview a couple of agents, or they didn't know what they were looking for. And so I'm always telling people, feel free to shop me and see who else you can get to compete. But what I'm telling them is, you're looking for a track record, you're looking for positive reviews, you're looking for someone who has stability and negotiation skills. And the most interesting thing is, a lot of times I hear someone say, I want someone who's a bulldog, who just going to tear the other side apart. We don't really subscribe to that, because I feel like those people oftentimes create friction and don't get the deal. It's because we have such a good name in the agent community, and because we realize we do try to come from a quote unquote, cliche win-win, but we're really looking to actually have a positive experience. And I can't tell you how many times I've had agents on the other end say, it's so refreshing to hear an agent say what you say, which is, I tell every single agent, I just want to be clear and make sure that you and I both understand from the beginning, you and I have the same goal, which is to get to the closing table. Right. So let's make sure we A, represent our clients well, and B, understand that we are working towards the same point. So let's figure out a way to get there. Because I can't tell you, there are a lot of times I run across agents who don't understand that, and they think it's, let me see how hard I can kick the other side, and that's not getting a deal done.
Not at all. No, and as we continue to grow, guys, we're actually got a YouTube channel going with lots of videos that are out there. So go to our YouTube channel. We'll put it in the post here so you can check it out, and then share any ideas about things you want to know. Because we talk about the market all day long, and there's lots of different questions people have, and there's so many moving parts. So just keep that in mind as you continue to look at things.
Yeah, Nomis Group International on YouTube, and we've got some initial videos in there, so check it out. So Ryan, let's transition, right? So real estate is good, right? Buyers are buying, sellers are selling, hot market for sellers, tough market for buyers, you know, kind of the status quo of what we've been going through here for these last handful of months. But let's transition kind of into the meat of this show today, which is, you know, a dose of positivity, I think is what Shelby called it, right? And let's share some positive stories, right? Because I started off today talking about 60,000 negative thoughts, right? 60,000 thoughts, 80% of them being negative. So I'd love to maybe take a little bit of positivity and try to share that with the people who are watching this show. And so I know you and I both wrote down a ton of things that we've seen in the world that are positive. And so I'm going to dribble past to you. And what do you got to open us up? What positive things have you seen in the world, Ryan?
So I think one of the coolest things was before and after pictures of lots of the cities throughout the world, right? So you have, you know, right in London, and then in India and Dubai and the New York City, San Francisco, all these crazy big cities that have had, you know, the view from the skyline for so many years where it was like cloudy, you know, you thought it was foggy, but that's really pollution. So they showed a picture of, I think it was June 11th of 2019, and then showed a picture of late April 2020, and it looked like clear blue skies. Every one of them looked totally different. And that was just because, you know, we slowed down a bit and that pollution declined. So that's one of the biggest things that's been positive for me looking at what's going on in the world. And so not only do we impact our culture and how we're getting closer to family and people like that because we've been forced to in some cases, but at the same time, what it's done for the environment. So, you know, it's negative from the standpoint of Corona and what that impact is as far as all the lives that have been lost, but overall, what it looks like from the standpoint of what it's done for the environment. So pollution has gone down dramatically in those places.
Well, 50%, right? You know, is what I was reading, 50% year over year in terms of the pollution reduction that has been there. It's the largest drop we've seen since World War II. I mean, that's absolutely crazy and mind-boggling. You know, we've seen different animal migrations, right, that are moving. We've seen, you know, like you mentioned, the skyline views.
Sleeping on the streets, the animals sleeping on the streets. Do you see that?
What was it? Sorry?
Wild animals, just like they would go into the towns that, you know, no one's out anymore. So there was a ton of goats, I think, in Wales, something like that, which just crashed on the streets.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible to see kind of the change that's happening. I mean, I saw a guy post a video yesterday skateboarding down Times Square, you know, because there's no tourists. It's wide open. So yeah, that pollution is huge, and the views that are changing. It's really impressive and it's awesome. And I hope that we could try to maintain some of that as we do move forward and open up, because that's a good thing for Mother Nature. And anytime the earth is breathing and healthy, that's a good thing for those of us that live here on planet Earth. So that's a good one. I saw this story the other day, and it's really gotten some steam. It's a pretty amazing story. Have you heard of Captain Tom Moore?
No.
So this is a gentleman who I believe is over in England, and he initially started a fundraiser, and his goal was to raise just simply €1,000, and he wanted to donate that money to people who were front lines people, right? So obviously the healthcare industry, nurses. He was also trying to raise money for people who were on the delivery service, people who were retail staff, you know, basically all frontline people who had to go out and continue to work. His goal was to raise €1,000. Do you know what he's raised, Ryan?
3 million.
Close. 26.5 million euros.
Oh, that's awesome.
Unbelievable. He is 99 years old. This is the cool part about this story. A lot of us say, you know, at some point you can't make a difference, right? Or you're too old or you're too young. This guy smashes every single one of those excuses. He's 99 years old and he's raised 26.5 million euros to donate. It's awesome. Just an unbelievable story. Yeah, he started off, right? I mean, again, this is where things start, right? You start with just such small, simple goals, right? He wanted to just raise $1,000 to help some people in his neighborhood. And next thing you know, he's caught all this traction. and he's been knighted actually. He's now, Sir Thomas, right? It's pretty amazing the things that he's done, but I love it from small, humble beginnings that we can make really, really, truly a huge impact. And that was a really cool story that I saw of someone who just wanted to make an initial difference, who has now made this huge ripple in terms of helping and supporting people out on the front lines. So check that out. Sir Captain Tom Moore is his name. So check him out. What do you got, Ryan? What else you got? Give me another positive story.
So I like the idea of what it's done to the medical field, where people are actually able to go and do a lot of the video conferencing now, and a lot of those medical providers are providing devices into the areas where people actually don't have iPads or things like that to get care. And the medical industry is saying, I think it was like a 1,600% increase in how many visits they're able to do virtually and diagnose. And a lot of people that came in for x-rays and things like that don't have to come back to have that reviewed. They're reviewing that online with them. So I thought that was a really good one, where this is changing our society for the good and forever, where you can get online now and have a lot of these consultations right away without having to worry about an appointment, 3 weeks, 3 months from now, because they're able to get through many, many more in one day than they were before. Saves us from being late to appointments. I got stuck in traffic. I have to reschedule, but yet I really need to see the doctor. Same thing. I think it relieves a lot of stress for everyone too. Obviously, you still have to go for some bigger things, but such a massive increase in the amount of people that can be seen on a daily basis. And that really will help a lot of those people that are in those areas where it takes an hour to get to the doctor. So I thought that was a good one.
Especially in our area where it literally can take an hour to go, 9 or 10 miles. I mean, it's pretty incredible there. Yep. I've seen that on a personal level, just in terms of some appointments, that I've had. And then literally, I was just talking with some clients the other day. They work in the veterinarian field, right? And they were saying that exact same thing. They have been able to be more efficient with their time and meet more clients and service more of their clients' needs at a higher, more quality level by being able to do that and do some of this stuff online. So that is truly one of the things that is positive in this world. Actually, I'll piggyback on that. That was something that I had written down. Is one of the positive things I've seen is just a change in technology, or a leveraging, maybe not so much a change, but more leveraging of technology that allows us, and you can see us continuing to kind of create and connect with people. What was it? Zoom calls, right? Just like we're doing here, right? I've seen Zoom calls for art classes, for cooking classes, book club classes. I was reading an article about another 90 something, right? She's 92 and she's been doing piano lessons, I don't know, for some 60, 70 years. And she said she was so disappointed when COVID hit, because she had to, obviously all of her students canceled. She said, not on my watch. And so she's went online to Zoom and now has been meeting with her all of her students there. And so I've seen a huge leverage of technology. And to be honest, I feel like our society has probably jumped 5 to 10 years into the future because we've been forced. And we talked about this months ago, but trauma oftentimes forces change, right? And so somebody has a heart attack, they change, their, what they're eating, right? You find out you have cancer and you're more cognitive or aware about what you're putting into your body, right? You break a leg, you have to do rehab, just trauma is what causes change. And this trauma from COVID and the economy has really pushed change in terms of, technology. It's moved all of us forward. I mean, those people who said, I'll never go on to Zoom or that, right? Here they are now, right? Doing Zoom medical calls, right? Doing Zoom meetings. And so that's a big positive step I've seen, that technology definitely can make us more efficient, save us time, save us hassle, and still provide, that connection that we're looking for as human beings. So that was a good one.
I got one more.
Go ahead. Yeah, please.
And I think it's the Finamily. Yeah, that's a good one. Finamily.
The Finamily?
The family dynamics that have come into play with all of this now, right? So I've been working from home with 3 kids around and my wife for quite a while. We've got back into the office, recently. But by doing that, just the connection of day-to-day interaction that a lot of people weren't getting with family, that have gotten in the last 3 months and will probably continue to get, because I don't know that anyone's going back to work full-time anytime soon out of the house. But just how that interaction is and how much positivity is going to come from that, if you obviously have the right mindset when you're interacting with everyone. Sure. But just making that connection that much more stronger with bonds and things like that. So some of the kids that have gotten this interaction will grow up a little bit differently because of it, and hopefully stronger and more confident and aware of what's going on and how family dynamics really should work. So I like that a lot.
Well, that's good. Again, it's some of that trauma, right? It's forced interaction, and hopefully a lot of it is good. Some of it can be a little bit, stressful. I can imagine, three
Well,
boys.
mindset though, and the same thing, making a choice, a conscious choice to say, you know what, I can either kill you right now, or I can say, I love you, you're my kid, and let's figure that out. So.
I'm trying to remember back when we were that age, right? I mean, could you
Right.
imagine being locked into a house basically for 2.5 months?
I'd be dead. Yeah, they would have killed me.
And we're not necessarily locked in, but could you imagine basically being told, no, you can't go, you can go see your friends and stare at them across the street, but you can't play with them. I'm so sorry, and so it's got to be tough and difficult, and just like you mentioned, it's just change, right? The world is often changing, and we have to change with it. They say the only people that don't change, right, are people in asylums and people who are dead, right? Otherwise, we've got to change and grow and adapt with the world, because it's constantly going to be doing that.
Shelby does bring up the fact that it does invoke quite a bit more of day drinking. That's true.
Day drinking. Yeah, some of our habits have definitely changed, that's for sure there. So
5 o'clock somewhere, that's where that comes from.
Absolutely. Well, the last positive piece I had, is it goes along kind of with family, and it's on the animal side there. We've seen a ton of animals, again, just new migration patterns, well, maybe not migration patterns, but like you mentioned, animals kind of moving in closer into the cities because there's less, population that's happening. People are in the houses. I've also seen, I was reading an article over in Australia, how they had the wildfires that really devastated over 2 million acres. They've started to reintroduce, some animals back into their natural habitats, like koalas and stuff. So seeing some of the animals that are being put back into their natural habitats is great. I also read an article for those panda lovers out there, 2 giant pandas that had not made it in over 13 years. I think due to the zoos actually not being nearly as busy, actually made it, and they've got, a growing family on the way there. So, just a lot of cool stories like that. I think the number of dogs that were walked, the number of dog walks probably quadrupled or 10 times.
Right? Dog weight, obesity is way down.
That's right, exactly. My dog, right, Buster, was like, please, dude, no more walks. I'm like, come on, just one more. Let's get out of the house.
Yeah.
So, I think there's definitely a lot of positive things that have come from this. Yeah, we're not denying that there's been some tough times, but I think, again, you are what you choose to focus on. And it's not—
what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do?
Life is going to be served up to us. How are you going to choose to react? Isn't that what they say? Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you choose to react, right? Yep. What have we seen out there? We've seen this as a great opportunity to grow our business, to be more online, to be more in front. I mean, Ryan, where was this show, I would say a year ago, but where was this show 6 months ago, 3 months ago? It was non-existent. We were forced into this show because of COVID and the current environment. And we said, we want to continue to be an inspiration and provide a positive message to people and provide something of entertainment value and educational value. And lo and behold, a little over 2 months ago, we started this and we brought on some amazing guests and hopefully provided not only educational value, but just a little bit of relief in terms of fun, and obviously that educational piece there. So it has been great there. So, well, cool. Well, we hope that you guys have enjoyed some of the positive things in life. I'd love it if you're watching this later, share a positive story down in the messages below, in the link below. Definitely, we love to hear things that are going on. We've heard so many great local positive stories. I shared on my Facebook the other day just about some communities that I saw a ton of notes posting about. If you're an elderly, citizen, and you need help and you don't want to go to the store, you need packages or food delivered, let me know. I can't tell you how many stories we've heard of that. And actually, this will lead in perfectly. One of the positive stories that we ourselves are kind of trying to make an impact with is working with Carried to Full Term. And so you want to talk a little bit about what we've been doing and what we're going to be doing this week?
Yeah, Carried to Full Term is an organization in Haymarket that helps mothers in need, expecting mothers, and they house them for up to 2 years after their child is born to just help them get back on their feet, learn how to get jobs, do all kinds of other things, financial planning, etc. So we've helped them do a lot of things over the years, from just work around the house to talk about finances and maybe help them get a job, to now they are fundraising to add an addition onto that house. So I think they have like, they can put up to 12 people. Is it eight or 12 right now? Which one is it?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
I think I thought it was 8, and then they wanted to be able to like double or I think
Yeah.
maybe double that or almost, be able to get close to, I don't know, 15 to 20, families or mothers with, who are expecting in there. So they're doing this addition. I think it was at $40,000 is the cost of the addition, right?
Yeah, so they're raising that $40,000 to put that on there to help more moms, which is going to be fantastic. And so
Yeah.
we've been advertising that we would love to match dollar for dollar. Any of you watching or anyone you know that would like to contribute to Carried to Full Term, Nomis Group will match that and maybe get them that home sooner than later. So really excited about that. The link is in our post right there as well.
Well, we started off when we did that initial match, right? The goal was 2,500 to raise 2,500, right? And we said we'd match basically up to that first 1,000. Well, guess what? We are at 2,500. We've already crushed that goal. So we've set the new goal to 5,000. And I told you internally when we first started this, I said my internal goal was really 10K. So I would love it for anyone listening to help us get to $10,000. Now, our first, like I said, our goal that you'll see on the link there is 5K, and we're halfway there to that. So what we're going to be doing this week is continuing to raise funds for this organization, and it's going to go through the end of this month. So we've got until June 30th, so we've got another 7 days left. But this week specifically, we're going to have a lot of fun on Thursday. A lot of times we see Throwback Thursday. Well, this Thursday, we're going to be doing a Throw Bucks Thursday. And what we're doing is internally, we're going to have a little bit of competition with the agents and our team members, and we are going to see who can raise the most amount of money from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., right? A 12-hour marathon, I guess, if you will, raise money-thon on Thursday, this Thursday. So if you have not donated, we would love it if you donated on Thursday. And if you have donated, then we'd love it if you donated again. But true, we are having a lot of fun, and so I'm sure a lot of you who have already given, thank you first and foremost. Thank you for your support on behalf of Carried to Full Term. Secondly, those of you who haven't given, this is going to be a great week. If you're working with me, don't give until Thursday so I can make sure to win this. You know how I love to win. If you're giving on behalf of Ryan, please give Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Don't give on Thursday.
I'll go back and check when the data came through anyway. I'm going to make sure we kick your butt.
Fair enough. Well, this is awesome. We're super excited, guys, to bring you a positive message, and we hope that you partner with us to help us reach our goal, of $5,000 for Carried to Full Term, so that we can provide more housing to some mothers who are in need and help really get a family off to a positive start. So, Ryan, thanks for a positive show. Anything you want to leave our people with before we sign off?
No, just make sure you make it happen every day and choose what you're going to do. You always have a choice. Don't ever think you don't. Anytime you need to have a positive interaction, feel free to give us a call.
Mindset, mindset, mindset. Spread some positivity, some kindness, and some love in the world. And if you know anyone who needs help with real estate, make sure you call myself, Ryan, any one of our agents on our team. We've got a wonderful team. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock.